Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Shell Draws, back with another video this week. Sorry if I sound a little congested. I don't know if I do, or if I come off as that, but found out that I have allergies. I never had allergies before, but I have allergies now. And so I'm a little congested, but yeah, welcome back to the channel. This week I wanted to do focusing on facial expressions. This has been something that I've wanted to work on for a while, and I'm finally getting to really explore with this. There was just me feeling a lack of love for my art, and I'm always drawn to certain things in other people's art, which is more expressive and dynamic poses, and then also facial expressions. I feel like when I draw characters, they're kind of static and they're very lifeless sometimes because they just don't have much expression going on their face. So I wanted to explore and experiment with different facial expressions, and then trying to also get better at using references of facial expressions and then portraying it in my own art, in my own way, in my own style. I show here a couple of different facial expressions that I was looking at, and how certain artists portray and draw out and illustrate the facial expressions that they have for their characters and how they do it. I see a lot of people use the full face. Sometimes I would do a face just regular static, and then just apply a facial expression onto it, which makes it not really look as fluid and fully as expressive as it can be, because the whole face is supposed to move and show the story of the facial expression. So I try to do that more here in these drawings that I'm doing. This one you guys can see is Ariana Grande. I'm looking up. I try to start simple. I try to end off, and I try to hit a whole bunch of different kind of emotions in my facial expressions. I wanted to hit funny ones, sad ones, happy ones, clueless looking ones, smirky kind of one. So I did about 5 different facial expressions, but I had a lot of fun doing these. But yeah, it's a cool experiment to see and explore. And my favorite part of drawing people is the face, other than the clothes. So yeah, this was a fun little activity to do. But yeah, another part of the whole facial expressions that kind of throws me off sometimes is the mouth shape, and how to make a mouth look not too realistic, but also realistic enough where it can tell the expression and carry the expression that it needs to. I have a hard time, especially when teeth are showing. I realize in these, the teeth aren't showing much, or if not at all. And I do need to focus on that. That probably might be in another video down the road. Just working on facial expressions with teeth and mouth, and I'm going to choose to represent that and draw it in my own style. Just because I know back in the day, sometimes it could be a little uncanny seeing every tooth drawn out, but I also want it to not just be a simple line showing just the teeth being there. I wanted to do a little bit more for the teeth, so I've been trying to also look at mouth expressions and stuff like that. And I'm doing a little bit of studying on that, but for now I did keep it pretty simple. But that's something else I want to work on. Another thing I want to work on is what I kind of did in here, trying to simplify and not draw every line I see on facial expressions in humans, and then just in trying to replicate every facial, all those small fine lines, because it could make your character or the drawing look a little bit old, having those harsh lines. So I try not to do that with actual outline in the outline layer. I try to probably if I need to incorporate that, I will do that in the coloring rendering stages. But yeah, that's another issue with me, trying to determine how much of a fine line I need, and how much is too much to make my character look like they're older or younger, or it just depends on what I'm trying to portray. So yeah, I also just love trying to capture different faces as well, because I remember, which will probably always haunt me for the rest of my days drawing. It was when I went to SCAD, there was this girl in my class that said all my characters kind of had the same face syndrome. And I was like, what? And I was like, they look different to me. But then I really I use that as constructive criticism, and is also kind of like a little bit haunting. But I do, every time I draw a face, that's what I think of in the back of my head. How can I make this face look a little different? And I think I did pretty good here, where all the faces look the same without even having it fully rendered and colored out and shaded. So I think this was successful. Just trying to use different face shapes, as well as different eye shapes, mouth shapes, nose shapes, things like that. Eyebrows, and ears, to make people look different from each other, of the characters I draw. So I've been trying to do that more even here. I was super happy with how they turned out. And yeah, this one was probably the most different I've ever drawn a character before. So I was excited when I saw her come out and portray. And some of them are kind of based on almost the facial structures of the reference photos too. So that's probably why it made it come out a little different from each other. So, because they're all different people. So it was a cool thing to see and realize. For me, it's super important to be able to have more of a grasp on like facial expressions and faces, and trying to portray a feeling through faces and expressions, that like it. If I want to tell stories as an animator through my characters, it's important. It's something that you kind of is like a requirement, and is like a base foundation of character designing and for animation. So yeah, that's what I really love seeing in other people's art. I want to portray it in my art too, and try to bring that same aspect that I love so much from others into my work. So animation it was really a big deal to have this kind of good understanding of facial expressions and how they work, and how the face works itself too. But yeah, that's why this was like really important, especially because I'm working on Astro Academy again, and for my senior project, I told you guys I was gonna keep working on it. I plan on relaunching my Kickstarter on my birthday, March 24th, and having that out for a month and seeing where that goes. So that's the goal for this year that's coming up, and that's really important to me. But other than that, so this is just even more practice for me working on and re-editing the animation that I already have. So yeah, I'm super happy with how these turned out, using everything I learned from here, and then trying to even expand on the learning part of this, still doing sketches. Sometimes when I just get like tired of the graphic design world, I go back and I just start sketching on regular paper, analog style, some faces and things like that, just different eye shapes, mouth shapes and stuff like that. But I want to do a dedicated video on mouths too for you guys, so that will be coming. If you guys want a video on eyes, let me know. But yeah, let me know in the comments what is your favorite face that was drawn in this video, and what part of the body or face is your hardest to draw, or you have the most difficult or the most challenging part for you to draw. What is the most challenging part of the face for you to draw? And I would love to know, because for me, like I said, it's the mouth for sure. And then probably head shapes as well, just like trying to vary them up a little bit. It's not hard, but it's something I do have to think extra about. So yeah, that I would say is something I would probably need a little bit more practice in as well. But let me know in the comments. Thank you guys for watching. If the audio sounds a little different, I'm filming in my brother's car right now because my family is fully moving around in the house and it's a little too much. So thank you guys for bearing with it for me, and thank you guys for watching. I will talk to you guys with the next video, hopefully in a week. So yeah, thank you guys. Bye.